What is rent concession in New York? A rent concession in New York can lower your housing costs at the start of a lease, but the fine print determines whether the savings last. A rent concession is a temporary financial incentive a landlord offers to attract a new tenant or encourage a current tenant to renew a lease. Common concessions include free rent, reduced monthly rates, waived fees, or complimentary access to building amenities. In Manhattan, where median rents routinely exceed $4,000 per month, these incentives can save a renter thousands of dollars over a single lease term. Avenue Law Firm says both tenants and landlords should make sure concession terms are clearly written to avoid future disputes. The direct answer is that a rent concession changes the financial terms of a lease in a way that benefits the tenant for a limited time. Landlords often use concessions during slower rental seasons or when vacancy rates are high. One of the most important concepts is the difference between gross rent and net effective rent. Gross rent is the official monthly amount stated in the lease. Net effective rent is the average monthly cost after the value of the concession is spread across the full lease term. For example, if the gross rent is $4,000 per month on a 12-month lease and the landlord gives 2 months free, the tenant pays $40,000 over the year. Dividing that total by 12 months creates a net effective rent of about $3,333 per month. Even so, the lease may still list the gross rent as $4,000, and that figure can matter later. In many market rate leases, future negotiations begin with the gross rent rather than the net effective rent. The most common forms of rent concessions in New York are free rent periods, reduced rent rates, lease modification incentives, and utility or amenity waivers. A free rent period usually lasts 1 to 3 months and is often offered at the beginning of the lease. A reduced rent rate lowers the monthly payment for a set period or for the full lease term instead of giving a lump sum benefit. Some landlords also offer a rent credit or temporary rate reduction when a tenant agrees to renew early or sign a longer lease. Utility waivers and amenity waivers can reduce total monthly expenses without directly lowering the stated rent. New York's regulatory rules make concessions especially important in rent-stabilized and rent-controlled apartments. In rent-stabilized units, a lower charged amount may qualify as a preferential rent, and under the Housing Stability and Tenant Protection Act of 2019, preferential rents are permanent during the tenancy. Temporary concessions such as 1 month free may not automatically qualify as preferential rent, so the lease language and regulatory status of the apartment matter. Rent control applies to a much smaller group of apartments, and concessions are less common there because rents are already capped. For tenants, concessions can ease move-in costs, make better housing more affordable, and improve negotiating power when the market favors renters. For landlords, concessions can reduce vacancy time, improve tenant retention, and help a property stand out in a competitive market. The biggest risk for tenants is assuming the discounted amount will control future increases when the landlord may instead calculate renewal rent from the higher gross figure. The biggest risk for landlords is offering repeated discounts that create expectations at renewal or attract tenants who cannot afford the full rent after the concession ends. A lawyer should review the lease terms carefully, and an attorney can help determine whether the discount is a temporary concession or something that affects future lawful increases. Every concession should be documented in the lease or a signed addendum, and a lawyer or attorney at a law firm can help confirm the gross rent, net effective rent, duration, conditions, and any clawback provision are clearly stated. If you need help reviewing or documenting a rent concession, contact Avenue Law Firm, a law firm at 505 Park Avenue Suite 202, New York, New York, 10022, United States, or call 212-729-4090.